History in the 60s when he became one of the first black big city mayors. Gary, Indiana's Richard Hatcher has died. CBS 2's Mike Puccinelli joins us live from the newsroom. Mike, Hatcher's election was a turning point in the political fortunes of African Americans.
Indeed it was, Jim. Richard Hatcher became mayor of Gary in 1968 and served for 20 years. The 86-year-old died of cancer and heart failure in the hospital late last night, surrounded by loved ones. Now, earlier this evening, one of those loved ones agreed to sit down with me. It's a story you'll see only on 2.
He was just the best dad.
But years before Richard Hatcher would become father to Ragen and 2 other girls, he was making history.
Dad was a springboard for others to feel like they could do it.
By do it, she means enter politics, because when her father first entered the political arena by taking a seat on the Gary City Council, it amounted to a profile in courage.
He introduced the ordinance that allowed black people to live wherever they wanted to live in Gary. Before that, they couldn't even live where they wanted.
Then he took the audacious step of running for mayor of Gary. When he won the Democratic nomination, Ragen says the party abandoned him.
They actually supported the Republican candidate against Dad in the general election that November. But he still won.
Soon he was being courted by a who's who of American politics. Here he is with Coretta Scott King, and here he is on the left with Bobby Kennedy. Years later, he said candidate Obama had captured the same type of energy.
This spirit that I feel now is exactly the way it was then.
After Martin Luther King was assassinated, Hatcher counseled President Johnson. President Carter also called upon the Gary mayor for advice, even asking him to move to Washington.
He was like, no. He told the president no. He said his work was not done in the city of Gary.
And he never left Gary and never stopped dispensing advice, as current mayor Karen Freeman Wilson found out 2 months ago at the unveiling of his statue outside City Hall.
He said, there's life after being a mayor. And, I just cracked up.
After he assumed the mayor's office and later held the National Black Political Convention in Gary, there was a groundswell of black candidacies that ultimately led to victories like Harold Washington's in Chicago and beyond.
Some people say things like there would be no Barack Obama if there wasn't a Dick Hatcher. And I don't know if that's quite true, but I certainly see where the dots got to each other. He was just amazing.
Now, by the time he left office, more than 300 African Americans held office in city halls all across the country. Hatcher twice ran Jesse Jackson's presidential campaigns. The Reverend is set to deliver the eulogy at Hatcher's funeral 1 week from tonight. In the newsroom, Mike Puccinelli, CBS 2 News. Jim?